Hello everyone, and it's time for another vlog post. I'm unveiling the spirit, where I like to unveil spiritual truths behind contemporary topics, everyday issues, relationship issues, and personal struggles. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Stephanie K, also known as Sage the Coach, and I am not only a certified life and relationship coach and author, but the podcast host of a show that comes on Saturdays bi-weekly for now, called Outside the Box, where I aim to help people see that God is bigger than our boxes. And so, but to get into my unveiling the spirit portion again, like I like to unveil spiritual truths behind things, because a lot of times we stay focused on what's on the surface, but what's really going on is not on the surface, and you can never fully understand a problem or issue, even yourself and God, without going underneath the surface. And so what I want to unveil a spiritual truth about today is this shooting last week in Uvalde. Am I saying it right? I don't know. And I will admit that it's a little bit difficult for me to talk about this. I kind of waited a little bit to see if it would get easier for me. It's a little bit easier than it would have been last week, but it's still a little bit tough. But what I want to unveil the spirit about is something that I've been seeing and hearing a lot when it comes to the shooting. Of course, there's a lot of spiritual things going on when it comes to the shooting, but there's one aspect that I want to pinpoint, which is that why does God let bad things like this happen? I haven't just been hearing, stuff about why God allowed this, but you hear this a lot. I mean, I think this is probably one of the number one reasons why people who don't believe in God struggle to believe in Him, because of the bad things that not only happen in this world, but have happened to them personally. And it becomes very, very difficult for us to comprehend how a loving God who has control and power over all these things allows these things. And so I don't know if you've watched my podcast or any of my other posts, but you'll know that my take on this is not easy to accept. Sometimes you have to come outside of your own thinking to understand God's mind, which is on a much, much bigger scale than the way we think. And so the first thing is that we're only seeing things through a very small lens. We're only one individual human beings, and we can only see life through that one individual perspective. But God sees everything. He sees all of our perspectives. He sees the beginning of time to the end of time. He sees to eternity. And so stuff is in a different perspective to Him as to why He would allow these things, as for us who was only looking at a small part of the picture. And so just to shed a little bit of light on that perspective is that a lot of the times when bad things happen, what do? We try to bring some good out of it. So it goes back to the gun laws. And now all of a sudden people want to, we really need to get these gun laws taken care of, because that is how we can bring meaning and something good out of something very terrible that happened. So that's on a very small scale. But if you look at the entire world and all the chaos and all the wars and the genocides and the murder, God also looks at those bad things, and He has the mind of bringing good out of it as well. And the good that He brings out of it is eternity in peace with His people. So yeah, it's very, very bad what is happening right now, and it's really hard to deal with. But God is looking at eternity, and He knows at the end of the day, He's going to have a people that live in peace and harmony with Him for all eternity. And that is very small, as bad as it seems. That, and bad as it is, that's very small compared to what is happening now. Another thing is that we have the power of choice, and a lot of times I think we take that very, very lightly, and we don't understand the magnitude of what that means. I've said in my other shows and things like that we are small gods on the earth. We are made in the image of God, and one of those things that help us to that are characteristic of His image is that we have a mind to bring things from our imagination or our spiritual world and make it physical, make it tangible, make it affect our reality and other people's reality. We have that power. It is a huge power. With that power, we can make very, very beautiful things. We can make a beautiful life, or we can make destruction. And God gave us that power, and He does not take it away just because we're doing the wrong things with it. If He took it away every time we made wrong decisions with it or bad decisions with it, we would never learn what it means to have that power, and would defeat the purpose. It would defeat the purpose of Him giving it to us in the first place. So He gave us that power. We can create a beautiful world. We can create a messed up world. And unfortunately for us, since we are disconnected from his guidance, we live in a world where both exist. We live in a world where there's good because people do good things with their power, and we live in a world where people do very evil things with their power, and everybody suffers the ramifications of that. And so so the power of choice is a very, very powerful choice, and we have to take it seriously and understand the power of our choices and not get upset with God when someone takes the power of choice that he gave to them and uses it to do something wicked with it. If anything, it should bring us back to God and understand the enormity of the responsibility that we have, and that we can't fully be entrusted with it without his guidance. The last point that I want to touch on when it comes to this is that God understands our hurt. Like, just because he has a picture of eternity than we have, and he knows that he gave us the power of choice, he grieves when we grieve. He doesn't like to see the stuff that is happening. And I think even for him, he will probably be more sad than we are, because we're his creation, and he's looking down like, if they will only turn to me and understand that I'm here to help them, they wouldn't have to go through these things. But he is just as hurt as we are. He loves us. He doesn't like to see us suffering. But he's not unstable. He's not going to let his emotions lead. And a lot of times that's what we do when we get upset with God because bad things are happening, because of how bad we feel. We let our emotions lead, and we let our emotions dictate how things should and should not be, when that is not how we should respond. We should understand we can feel. Don't get me wrong. I feel very, very deeply for what has happened. It bothers me on a very deep level. I drop my kids off at school every day, and I can only imagine the parents that thought they were safe at school just to find out that they were no longer there. Like, it really is like a punch in the stomach for me. So I get it. But at the same time that I get it, I don't lose sight of God. And I think that's what's really important, because not only does he care, not only does he comfort us, not only does he have a larger picture in mind, not only does he respect the power that he gave us, and he doesn't take it back and change things because we do stuff he doesn't like, but he is there to comfort us, to help us. If you lean on him, the Bible says, if you draw close to God, he will draw close to you. So in these moments of pain, we should not pull away from God and say, why did you allow this to happen? But to understand that he is a comforter, he has an answer, he has a plan, and that if we just trust him, even in our grief, even in our sadness, even in our doubt, he will guide us to a place where all of these answers, all of the solutions to these problems will be answered. So that's what I wanted to say about my Unveiling the Spirit post today, and to, also offer encouragement and comfort for even those who are struggling with this whole incident, because it is difficult to deal with. And I know for me, I definitely have to lean on God in times like this so that I don't become overwhelmed with what happened in the moment, because when you let the moment overwhelm you, you let evil win, and I don't want evil to win. So that's it for Unveiling the Spirit. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please be sure to tune into my podcast bi-weekly on Saturdays at 12 p.m. where I aim to help people see that God is bigger than their boxes. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye.